is being recorded, both audio and visual. Since our last meeting on, I believe it was October 25th, I can think of 2 times that a majority of the Board of Commissioners were together. We had union negotiations with SEIU on the 6th for a couple of hours. No decisions were made, of course. It was just purely letting you all know that we were together. And then Commissioner Eggleston and I were on a call with 2 federal employees regarding the freight study. Again, no decisions were made. It was purely informational. They were telling us, well, really you, what we have to go through in order to move forward with the 62 project. There's no public hearing set for today, so at this time I would invite any of the public that wish to comment or present anything up to 3 or 5 minutes. You could do that now. All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda and the minutes?
Yes.
Any alterations to either? Very good. Fiscal report.
In the general fund balance as of the end of the day yesterday, $2,567,000. I can't even do this. $2,567,323. In the Erie Bank general fund account, $529,995 for a total of $3,097,278. Coming out of the general fund this week, we have payroll and payroll-related taxes for $287,081, and the health care bill this week came in at $17,143, leaving a projected balance in the general fund $2,263,099. Tax anticipation loan is at 0 because that has been paid back. Erie Bank debt fund is starting to grow for the next bond debt payment that we have. That's it, really.
I would like to make one correction to the. She reported that Erie Bank General Fund has $529,995, and actually what's stated here is 55. Just with that one correction.
Okay.
I move to approve the fiscal report as presented.
And the minutes in the agenda?
And the minutes in the agenda, yes.
Friendly amendment accepted. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Very good. All those in favor of approving the agenda for today's meeting, the minutes from the October 25th meeting, and the fiscal report as reported, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. There's no old business, so moving on to new business. We would like to award the 2018 tax anticipation note. As those of you who were at the work session the other day may recall, we opened the bids on Monday from PNC, Erie Bank, Northwest Savings, and Key Bank. Our fiscal director has since then reviewed all of the proposals with all the various fees and has made a recommendation that we accept for the 2018 tax anticipation note the bid from Key Bank. Did you want to add anything? Very good. Any questions for the commissioners for Judy at this time?
Very. A couple of things. One is I'd like to thank you for the charts and information that you put together. They were incredibly helpful in reviewing the information about each of the proposals. I guess the question that I have is the difference between 4.5 and 5 million. I know that was a part of the proposal. Do we? I suppose we could wait until we make a motion, but I guess I'm asking your opinion on whether 4 or whether 5 is needed, or whether we should stick with 4.5, or if there's actually any difference, because the way that I'm looking at this is it doesn't seem like it makes a difference. It just would give us a greater ceiling.
Yes, that's it. There's only one bank that gave us a different rate if we went to the 5 million as opposed to 4.5, which was, I'll put it on here, Erie Bank. They just bumped the rate a little bit different if they went.
Okay, that's all I was curious about, because that's what it appeared to me, that there wasn't any legitimate difference between the two.
Nope. And as long as we're doing it as a drawdown anyways, we'll only draw what is needed, so.
Yeah.
And to be clear, the estimated total cost is actually the maximum total cost, correct?
Right.
That's just going to ask that. Yeah. So would your recommendation be for $4.5 million or $5 million?
We used 3.5 this year, plus we borrowed an additional 4 from the one other fund. I would think that 4.5 would be enough, but the credit line of 5 doesn't cost us any more or any less to do the credit line of 5.
Okay.
I mean, if it will look better to say we've done a loan for 4.5 as opposed to 5, we only borrow what we need. We only pay interest on what we borrow. So.
All right, well, this time I'd entertain a motion to approve either 4.5 or 5 million.
I'll make a motion to approve the $4.5 million bid from KeyBank.
Okay, your second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the board? Any public comment at this time? All right, the motion is to approve the bid from KeyBank at a 1.3% per year, and this was the $4.5 million total, with a maximum total potential cost of $31,515.
Oh, thank you for stating that. That would be the one difference. If we were to state a line of up to $5 million in our budget planning, we would need to at least accommodate for the maximum interest because we would have that potential.
Which would be another
So-
$1,000 if we
so,
went with Key.
yeah, so that would be the one difference in stating going with $5 million as opposed to 4.5.
Sure. All right, you've heard the motion. All those in favor of accepting the KeyBank bid, please state aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is to award the bid on outside auditing. We reviewed this at the work session before this most recent one and opened the bids and have evaluated all of the 5 companies that bid in. Actually, we did that before, didn't we? Because we talked about it briefly at on the 25th. So, I'm sorry, I misstated it. We opened them and discussed them on the 25th, but we're not ready to award any of the 5 applicants at the time. So we tabled the discussion until this meeting. Since then, we've all had time to review the agreements, and at the work session, we gave a verbal approval, if you would, but an unofficial approval, to award the outside independent auditing agreement to Zelenovsky and Axelrod. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to officially adopt their bid.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion from the board?
I'd just like to say that I think that this will be a nice improvement on the setup we have currently. Zelenovsky and Axelrod, I always have a hard time with that name. They have numerous clients of varying sizes in the state of Pennsylvania. Our current auditing firm, we were the only county in the state of Pennsylvania that they had as a client. As a result, there were a lot of challenges with the way auditing was handled within the county. We'll get an audit faster, we believe, and more efficiently and with better recommendations. So this should be, and also at a reduced cost. This will actually be cheaper than our current vendor. So very good decision.
Any public comment? And by the way, when I say public, I also mean department heads. Hearing none, the motion is to adopt the Z&A contract. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have 3 proclamations. First is for Trinity Memorial Church, celebrating their sesquicentennial anniversary. Whereas Trinity Memorial Church is celebrating its 150th anniversary on November 15th, 2017, and whereas beginning in the 1850s, community members began gathering for Episcopal worship in Warren County, and whereas, inspired by the faithful witness of Bishop Samuel Bowman and the leadership of Reverend Calvin Parker, they established their physical presence at their present location in Warren County in 1867. And whereas throughout their 150-year presence, using the gifts of inspiring worship and music to lead their efforts, They have been a prominent advocate for the spiritual health of the community. And whereas their efforts, combined often with other local congregations and institutions, led to the development of such things as the Interfaith Chapel, Hospice of Warren County, Canterbury Court, St. Francis of Assisi Church in Youngsville, and East Street House. And whereas they continue to serve the community through many current outreach efforts, including the Holiday Hot Meals Program, the Diapers and Such Ministry, hosting 12-step meetings, donating to collection drives throughout the year, and maintaining an emergency food pantry. And whereas their dedication to enriching worship, spiritual growth, and sharing healing is an inspiration to all county residents, and whereas we, the Warren County Commissioners, recognize the contributions made to the county by Trinity Memorial Church, now therefore be it resolved that Warren County proclaims November 15th, 2017 as a day of recognition for the sesquicentennial of Trinity Memorial Church, adopted the 8th day of November 2017 by the Warren County Commissioners. At this time, I would like to ask the Reverend if he wanted to make any comment.
Only my profound thank you on behalf of our congregation for your consideration and for your adoption of the proclamation, and our joy to hopefully have another 150 years of beautiful history here supporting the county. Thank you.
Very good. Do I hear a motion to approve this proclamation?
I'll make that motion to adopt the proclamation for the 150th year anniversary of the Trinity Memorial Church.
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Any discussion from the board?
I'd just like to thank the Reverend for coming here and also for the work that your congregation does. The Trinity Memorial Church is very proactive and in enriching the community here, and I think that we're all very grateful for the work that you do. It's very profound in my opinion, so thank you.
Thank you for coming. And public comment? Hearing none, the motion is to adopt this proclamation. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. The next proclamation is on National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. Did either of the other commissioners want to read this?
I don't have it.
Oh.
It would be hard to read. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah,
There
yeah,
it is.
good.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, November 2017. Whereas the Greater Pennsylvania chapter of the Alzheimer's Association is observing November as National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month to raise awareness of this relentless disease for which there is no cure. And Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States, with over 5 million Americans living with the disease. It is estimated that 1 of every 3 persons will develop the disease, resulting in an estimated 16 million cases by 2050. 15.9 million caregivers are contributing over 18.1 billion hours of unpaid care, with many of these being unpaid family members who are continuing to care for their own families and working full-time jobs. And this chapter works to bring about awareness, education, and support to those in Warren County afflicted by the disease, their families, and caregivers through lecture programs, family support groups, and referrals to related services. And this chapter is working to accelerate medical research and to provide proper diagnosis, care, and support for those affected by this disease and to eliminate Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Warren County, in recognition of this important cause, proclaim November 2017 as National Alzheimer's Awareness Month in Warren County, adopted this day, 8th day of November 2017.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of, do I hear a motion to approve the proclamation as stated?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion from the board? Any public comment? I'd just like to add that Commissioner Eggleston and I were able to go to the walk last year. It was a great event. Has it already happened? You know?
I think it's coming up, actually. I think it's the middle of the month, but I may be confused on that.
I'll have to see if I can make it this year.
Yeah, it was a wonderful event.
Very well attended,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a lot of organizations behind it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything further? All those in favor of adopting the proclamation on National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, please state aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. The third and final proclamation for today is in regards to Veterans Day, November 11th. Did either of you want to read this one?
Well, the other two have read, so I
Sure.
guess it's my turn. Veterans Day, November 11th, 2017. Whereas each year on November 11th, we pause to remember the men and women who throughout history served bravely and selflessly in America's armed forces, preserving our strength and security as a nation. These individuals sacrificed a great deal for the cherished causes of freedom and democracy, and as veterans, they deserve and will always have the respect and appreciation of all of our citizens. Whereas on Veterans Day, we publicly commemorate the honorable legacy and sacrifices of our veterans, those lost to humankind and those who thankfully are with us today. Americans and the people of many nations live in freedom because of the contributions and sacrifices made by our men and women in uniform, who served in various branches of the military during times of peril and national crisis. And whereas America has been blessed with an abundance of such men and women throughout its history, they proudly and bravely battled tyranny and oppression in World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East. Today, our men and women in uniform are at war again, battling terrorists and standing vigilant against a brutal and ruthless enemy that massacres innocent people out of blindness to all that is good and just in the world, and out of a desire to destroy our enviable way of life. Whereas on this Veterans Day, we salute their courage and dedication to the defense of our democracy and the sovereignty of freedom-loving nations around the world, recognizing it is an extraordinary person who willingly steps into harm's way to protect others and to defend our freedom, our rightful and noble heritage that dates back 241 years ago to the Revolutionary War. And whereas as honored and respected citizens, our veterans have learned the value of service, dedication, and discipline, and know the worth of life and liberty, America has found in our veterans the leadership, courage, and determination needed to overcome all forms of despicable threats to our nation and its people. And whereas we owe our veterans a debt of gratitude which can never fully be repaid, on this day, set aside in their honor, we take the opportunity to pay tribute to our military veterans for all that they have done and continue to do, to make the world a better and safer place for new generations of Americans who will continue to reap the benefits of such a proud legacy of selfless service. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Warren County Commissioners hereby proclaim November 11, 2017, as Veterans Day in Warren County, Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Do I hear a motion to approve the proclamation?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Any comment from the board?
I would just like to thank Ed Burris, who sits here with us, our Veterans Affairs Director, for the hard work he does for all of our veterans in our county. You do an outstanding job, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to say anything?
I would like to say that Warren County is probably one of the most veteran-oriented counties in the state. The county itself, the people of the county respect their veterans, and it shows in all they do for the veterans of the county. There are Veterans Day ceremonies being held throughout the county on Saturday, and there are numerous agencies that are providing free meals for veterans and their families at no charge for any of them throughout the county this Saturday. So thank you for the proclamation, and thank you for the support that you as the commissioners give to the veterans of our county.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Anything else? All those in favor of adopting the proclamation for Veterans Day, November 11th, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We have two more agreements on the agenda to approve today or discuss today. The first one is from Nyquist and Associates. As you may recall, a year ago, we entered into agreement with Long Nyquist. It was a government relations firm, sort of based in Harrisburg and actually sort of based here. They have, over the last year, in my opinion, done an admirable job of advocating for Warren County and Harrisburg on all levels of government, in the administration, in the legislature, in agencies, etc. So I've asked that this be put on the agenda. The terms are largely the same. There is an exit clause. They are an independent contractor, not an employee of the county. The retainer would remain the same. And at any time, we could leave the agreement with a 30 days written notice. Has the solicitor had a chance to review this?
Yes.
Anything give you pause?
I incorporated every suggestion, every amendment into it already. It's reflected in the
copy
that you have in your packet.
Good, thank you. Any questions about this before we get the motion on the table? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt the Long Nyquist and Associates agreement.
And I'll second that. All right, Commissioner discussion. Would either of you like to lead off?
I will. As taxpayers, we should all be asking ourselves, what are we paying our state legislators to do for us in Harrisburg? We elect our legislators to secure funding for our county. It is our job as county commissioners to lobby our state legislators to secure funding for projects in our county. An analysis was recently conducted and revealed that hundreds of thousands of dollars, likely millions of taxpayers' dollars, have been spent over the past decade to lobbying firms in Harrisburg and Washington. Those lobbying firms have represented our governors, state agencies, colleges, and small counties, including Warren, Tioga, and Greene. Any taxpayer money spent on lobbying firms is a real cause for concern. 10 states prohibit using public funds to pay lobbyists. Currently, a bill sits languishing in the PA State House, which would ban government agencies from using public funds to pay lobbyists. Paying the lobbying firm of Long & Nyquist a monthly retainer fee of $5,000, in my opinion, is too much money for our county to pay. Warren County pays annual membership fees as members of CCAP, the County Commissioner Association of PA, and NACO, the National Association of County Officials. Both associations represent Warren County at the state and federal levels. To support the hiring of a lobbying firm to represent Warren County is what I feel is a wasteful spending, and I stand firmly opposed to hiring Long & Nyquist as our lobbying firm. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Eggleston, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, not this
Okay.
time.
I appreciate your sentiment, and I wish that the system were not the way it was. And I've actually told Long Nyquist at times that I wish that lobbying were illegal. But the game is set the way it is. And so I would respond to the basic two arguments, I think, were that, number one, we've already hired a legislature to do, to advocate for us and draw money down. And the second was that point. So I view Long Nyquist and Associates as kind of the project manager, the glue that goes between the legislature, the administration, the commissioners, and other agencies. They're the ones that know who to go to. They've been very good at identifying what steps need to be taken, finding holes in applications, and they've been able to get us in front of the people that are actually making decisions. I respect our legislators very much. I count Representative Rapp and Senator Hutchinson as two of my best friends and political allies, actually. and I don't want, as a consequence, I don't want to put them in a position where leadership comes and tries to dangle something over them about what we could do for Warren County. I appreciate that they are unbuyable legislators, and as a consequence, I think that Long Nyquist can serve in a way that they can't, and I think that they shouldn't. I applaud them for being as unvenal as possible. So I've been very pleased with their performance over the last year. There are several projects that are coming to fruition. I think the one that has already happened that has brought money directly to Warren County was their support in helping the Rouse Estate with the intergovernmental transfer back in June. They did an admirable job and put in countless hours to accomplish that, and for that I'm very grateful. There are other projects that we're actively working on and pursuing. I'm going to be unveiling those hopefully in the first week of January in a kind of State of the County address. And we haven't decided on a location yet, but I'll get that done here in the next couple weeks. And I'll be laying out what I hope to accomplish over the next couple years, the last 2 years of this board. But some of those projects would at least include additional economic development funds and a new radio system, amongst other 911 related emergency dispatch capabilities. So I'm very much in favor of the agreement. As I said before, there is a 30-day exit clause, so if at any point we determine that Long and Nyquist are not serving our best interest or not worth the return on investment, then I'm certainly willing to fire them. But not many fire them because they're a very effective organization, and so I'm in favor of continuing on, at least for the foreseeable future. Any public comment at this time? Sure.
I have a question. A couple, actually. I wonder if the agreement requires them to provide an accomplishment report on some basis, annually or quarterly or something.
Yeah.
It does.
No, it does not, I don't believe. That's a good suggestion that actually Commissioner Morrison made last year, and I'm not sure that we ever followed up on that.
May I comment?
Sure.
I've repeatedly asked for an itemized statement from them as to the time they've spent on what projects and have refused to get that.
As a point, we did receive a letter back in March when you asked.
The letter was brief and had 3 paragraphs, and it addressed their help with the IGT, which I don't believe their help was really significant. We passed the IGT the year prior without Long and Nyquist assistance. Their other point that they made was the Regional Rural Community College, that they helped with funding, secure funding for that. I have on pretty good authority from someone in Warren County at the top level that they did not have any involvement in that. The next paragraph that they gave was in relation to a high-tech incubator, I believe, and pursuing funding for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I received.
Which is ongoing.
One more question. Are their activities subject to right-to-know laws?
Commissioner, excuse me.
Their activities.
Well, the solicitor, I think, has a statement on that, right?
They are. This contract in no way voids the terms and provisions of the Open Records Law. Even if we intended to do so, we could not. We do not have that legal power. So the right to know law is valid. Whatever exemptions are provided for under Section 708B are still valid as well, but the overall law which favors the side of disclosure is still valid. This agreement in no way invalidates any of the provisions of the law. So your rights under the Open Records Law remain the same as they apply to this as well.
So even their email on their private email server and that sort of thing would be subject to right-to-know?
The emails, depending on, I mean, I can't answer to all emails because emails are classified differently, But the emails sent to and received by our commissioners and the emails sent from our commissioners are subject generally to right to know. I mean, exemptions under Section 708B apply, and other privileges such as attorney-client privilege, work product doctrine, etc. But the emails generally are subject to the right to know, the Pennsylvania Open Records laws.
What about logs of telephone conversations?
I'm not aware
if they're
that
kept.
logs of telephone,
If they're kept, but we don't keep them.
and the county, under the right to know law, is not required to create a record, which it does not currently maintain.
Could I comment, please?
Mhm.
I would like to read under the Long and Nyquist Association agreement that we have in front of us, actually number 5, confidential nature of this relationship. This relationship will create an exchange of information, written and oral, between the client and the contractor, including data, documents, surveys, concepts, drafts, other relationships, strategies, and tactics, subject to and consistent with the terms and conditions of the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The services provided to the Warren County Board of Commissioners are for aiding the internal pre-decisional deliberations of the commissioners and will be construed as such pursuant to the Pennsylvania Right to Know law. No disclosure of information by either party to this agreement without the express consent of the other party shall be permitted unless mandated by law. This provision of the agreement shall survive the expiration of this agreement. So I think that answers your question.
Yep, thank you. Any further public comment? Anything remaining from the board?
So a couple of things really quick. First of all, I'd just like to state that we regularly lobby our state legislators, Scott Hutchinson, Kathy Rapp, and in fact our federal legislators as well. Had conversations with Glenn Thompson. So we're constantly lobbying on behalf of Warren County across the board with all of our representatives. At least Commissioner Kafferlin and I are, that I'm aware of. So there are regular conversations with our legislators. This organization is there to provide another set of hands in Harrisburg to help us go through grant applications, go through different initiatives. The Rouse IGT is a perfect one. Now, Commissioner Morrison had stated that the Rouse IGT, that we got through it last year without Long Nyquist help. That is not correct. In fact, the initiative to sign this agreement last year was based entirely on lobbying for the Rouse IGT at the time. The Rouse IGT would have been a walk in the park, frankly, except that Commissioner Morrison lobbied against the IGT.
Please.
Lobbied against the IGT, and so as a result, we had to initiate an effort in order to secure the IGT. The IGT represents, in both cases, $900,000 in each year of additional funding from the federal government for county nursing homes in order to help supplement what they get in Medicaid funding already. Both of those initiatives went through, and to a large degree due to our combined efforts. So this represents an additional $1.6 million in funding that has come into the county as a result of our efforts in conjunction with Long Nyquist. Okay, so I just want to be clear about that. They were heavily involved in both of those situations, and I just want that for the record. They were also involved in the Rural Regional College. They did not only work with us, but they worked with the board of the Rural Regional College. When I talked with the president of the organization, he especially discussed the fact that they were working with them. I'd also like to address the issue of right to know, okay, just to be very clear. Any correspondence they have with a government entity, whether it be us or the state government, is subject to right to know law, with obviously the exemptions that are available. If we have an email exchange with them, unless it is cleared under the current right to know law, it is right to knowable. So there's no way for us to have secret correspondence with them through email or through any kind of a written form, and all of our discussions with them are completely open. So I want to make that as clear as possible in this discussion, both of those items. That's all I have.
I would like to correct some things that Commissioner Eggleston said. For one, I did state that the IGT went through without the lobbying efforts of Long and Nyquist, and that is in fact true in year 2016. 2016 was the first year that the federal government came to our state and used this as a system of recouping money on beds for the Rouse. Also, did I lobby against the IGT? I did not lobby against the IGT. What I lobbied against with my fellow commissioners was the fact that the county was planning to put in $1.7 million to fund the IGT on behalf of the Rouse home. Had we gone through with that agreement that my two fellow commissioners signed in my absence in May, if we had actually followed through with that, eventually the federal government could have come back and classified that as an illegal transfer of funds. I got that agreement nullified, and then we had to go back to the drawing board and have the Rouse home fund the IGT themselves. That made that an illegal transfer. So I would like that corrected for the record. And
Okay,
also,
thank you. Yes.
as a matter of the board members for the Rural Community College, I also had board members approach me and ask me if I could ask my fellow commissioners to have the Long and Nyquist lobbying firm get involved and help them lobby for positioning our Rural Community College campus here in Warren County. They came to me and asked me to do that. When we were in Harrisburg at CCAP, I sent emails to my fellow commissioners asking them to do just that, and to which I got no reply.
Actually, I did respond to your March 25th email where you stated that Long Nyquist was an effective organization and that you expected, since we were the only county in the region that has a lobbying firm, that you expected this would be smooth sailing.
I don't recall that.
Well,
I don't recall. So I'd
specifics
really
aren't
like you
important.
to. But anyway, I just want everyone to know that I was reached out to by board members to ask for lobbying efforts to be done on their behalf. And also, there was the approach was made to my fellow board members, and what I was told by Commissioner Eggleston himself was that they were in fact involved when I knew that they weren't the day after that. So,
to be clear,
I guess it's their word against mine, and I guess it's up to you to choose how you feel about it.
to be clear, when I believe, at least from my perspective, we never asked Long Nyquist to, for instance, go talk to individual board members or advocate kind of broadly for the RRC. To be clear, they were giving us, I suppose they gave me anyway, the confidence that we had their support and help when it came to finding a facility and hopefully at some point drawing down state dollars in order to house them. So I think that was a major component in why the board felt comfortable with going with Warren County. But I don't want anyone to walk away thinking that there was some sort of, plot to get the board members to choose Warren County. It was just that we felt more confident going into the room saying, we should be your home because we can help get you a nice facility.
Where is that facility?
That actually is one of the few things that is exempt under right to know, as it's property that we don't currently own, and so I will not be stating that, but it will become public, obviously.
To my knowledge, it was supposed to be the South Street School location, and that is no longer the location. Is that correct?
Again, this is one of the few things that is exempt. Furthermore, the Warren County Development Authority is the entity that it's passing through, so I don't want to say anything that might jeopardize the price of the several properties that the WCDA is looking into.
The Rural Regional College has an administration of their own. It's going to be their determination to review various properties in order to make a determination as to where they're going to end up. I'd also like to clarify that, when referring to Long and Nyquist and Associates as a lobbyist, the clear line of direction that a lot of people take is that they're in a closed-door room, they're making deals, that's how things happen and all this other stuff. A lot of what they do for us is put us in contact with people that we need to talk to in order to get things done. This is the situation with the Rural Regional College. There are a lot of different people that were involved in that effort, and we needed to talk to a lot of different people. So they helped with that. Same with the IGT. To get involved with the Wolf administration and with other people, they are, with their context and their knowledge of how the government down there works, they're very helpful in putting us in contact with the right people in order to lobby our own interests here in Warren County. And I just say one last thing, which is after reviewing the various grant applications, RCAP funding, and a number of other things within the county of Warren over the past 10 or 15 years. Warren County has been routinely passed over for funding from the state for a number of different things. Part of the reason that I'm supporting this is that I want every set of hands that we could possibly have in order to get that money back here. These are tax dollars that are leaving us, going to Harrisburg, and they're going to go someplace else. Until the law changes, until there's a change in situation with lobbying, campaign finance, and everything else, this is the current state in Pennsylvania. We need that funding. We need investment in Warren County. Okay, if you look at the history of RCAP funding, for instance, for McKean County, for Venango County, for Crawford County, they're routinely getting millions of dollars of investment from the state. We need that money here. We want investment from the state here. If you just look at the freight study and the amount of traffic that we have on the roads, investment through PennDOT is another thing we need. These are things that we're going to be lobbying for with the help of this organization. And that's it. And if anybody wants to sit down and have a conversation about funding from the state, the history of it here, I think it's pretty clear, and I think everybody feels pretty much the same way, that we should be getting more attention from the state, and this will help us do that.
Final comment?
I do have two final comments. On the an RFP went out on the location to house the RRC. That RFP was for housing, where the RRC would locate. That's the decision that was to be made. That's what the board was asking me to get advocacy on their behalf from lobbyists. Now, Warren County does not have a home for the RRC. I can't speak for the RRC. In my opinion, it would seem prudent at this time that a new RFP would go out, but that's how I see it. Number two, Commissioner Eggleston states that we're routinely passed over at the state level for funding for many years now. While I totally agree with that, that speaks to our legislators and the job that they're doing in Harrisburg. They need to be doing a better job advocating for our county to bring those funds back here. We should not have to spend $60,000 of our taxpayers' money hiring a lobbyist to bring those funds home. That's our legislators' jobs, and it's our jobs as county commissioner to let those legislators know what it is we're asking for and get them on board with us to help advocate on our behalf in Harrisburg.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you. First of all, quick apology. I did look up your email, and you didn't say smooth sailing. You said it would increase our chances.
Yes.
And it wasn't March 25th. It was the 27th.
Thank you.
Final comment from me, and we've already accepted public comment, right? Very good. Compared to other counties, as the other two rightly point out, we're behind. And I view this as a rifle shot, not a Hail Mary, but certainly one of the best chances we have at increasing dollars that are flowing in from the state to Warren County. And we need all hands on deck. I agree with you on that. And so far, Long Nyquist has proven to be a great project manager and a great team when advocating with us. Like I said, the glue between the county, the legislature, the agencies, the administration, etc. So with that, the motion on the table is to approve the Long Nyquist and Associates agreement before us today. And at this time, I would ask that those in favor of approving the agreement state aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. Thank you very much for the good debate. The last agreement on the agenda for today is with Highmark Freedom Blue Group. Pam, would you mind just telling us in a sentence what this agreement is about?
This is the insurance program for our retirees that are age 65 and over. To cut the cost for the county, being self-insured, as we all know, as we get older, there's more prescriptions, there's more doctor visits, and the cost of prescriptions is going up. We had our third-party administrators do an analysis, and for us to pay premiums rather than being self-insured on our retirees that are 65 and older, this would be the best way to go. So we're switching them to a Freedom Blue plan, and this is the agreement to get that done.
And to be clear, the retirees who are affected will not have any change in their services provided.
No, as a matter of fact, they would probably have a little better plan.
Very good. Any questions from the board?
Pam, could you explain on page 2 at the top? Oh, rates. Okay.
Any other discussion?
I would just say, so the idea here is to this will save roughly, or we're estimating $40,000 a year for the county. Basically, by putting these people in this pool, this is part of the analysis that we've done on the overall healthcare situation in the county. After having a sharp increase in our overall costs last year, we tried to do everything we could to find a way to save money for the county. This was a very good option that was presented by BAI, and I would recommend that we support this initiative.
Commissioner Morrison, you were
the rates.
asking about the two different rates.
Mm-hmm.
We have Human Services 65 and older, and we have Warren County. They're two different group numbers, and based on their union contracts from when they retired, there is just a little bit of a variation in what their coverage is supposed to be. So mirroring the medical, that is why there is two different rates.
Okay, thank you.
This time I would entertain a motion to approve the Highmark Freedom Blue PTO agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion from the board. Public comment?
The only thing I'll add is to be clear that this will not change the benefit package that these retirees receive. It will be the exact same that they have. The only difference will be that they will be in a different pool, which saves the county money.
All right. All those in favor of approving the Highmark Freedom Blue PPO agreement, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. This time, I would allow any commissioner that has a comment to make, speak now. Very good. Lastly, any public comment? All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 5:01.